Stream. Okay. So hello everybody and welcome to Digital Open Day and this DMU live stream. We'll be talking to you about what support is available to you as a DMU student. University is a daunting prospect, or it can be, for anybody, and needing a helping hand is sometimes not a bad thing at all. So we want to show you how you can access this support and why you do it. So helping me to do that today, I'm joined by colleagues from the Student Welfare and Finance team, Library and Learning Services, and some current students. We'll be answering any questions you have at the end of the live stream, so please leave us a comment if you'd like us to answer them, and also ask us anything about student life at DMU. So first off, let's start by introducing ourselves. My name's Sian and I work in the marketing and communications team here at DMU. And we're joined today by Ryan from Student Finance and Welfare. Do you want to introduce yourself for us, Ryan?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Ryan. I'm a member of Student Finance and Welfare at DMU.
And then we have the lovely David Parks.
You're too kind, Sian. Hello, folks. Good afternoon. My name's Dave Parks. I'm the Director of Library and Learning Services.
And we have Tirath, who's joining us from the Disability Advice and Support team. Hi, Tirath.
Hello, hi, my name's Tirath. I'm from the Disability Advice and Support team, and we work in the Student Gateway.
And we've got two students who are also joining us today on Saturday. We've got Rick, who is a writer. He is studying Masters in Creative Writing. Hi, Rick.
Hi, you just said everything that I needed to say.
Yeah. And we have got Leonie, who is a graduate at DMU. Hi, Leonie.
Hello, I studied media production. So if you have any questions about DMU, I was there for 3 years and know a fair bit. So just pop them in the comments.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. And we're going to get started straight away by talking about student support and welfare. So this is one for Tirath. So would you be able to talk to us a little bit about what your team do, Tirath?
Yes, thanks, Sian. So I'll be giving you kind of an overview on some of our services and some support that you may be able to access. And we have just done the wellbeing and disability live stream as well, which I believe will be available to view for the rest of the day. So if you wanted more information, you can go back and listen to that. But I'll start by talking to you about Healthy DMU. So Healthy DMU is our university-wide approach to supporting students to develop a healthy life and improve their well-being while at DMU. It's an open programme. It's available to all students regardless of what course you're studying, whether you're full-time or part-time, whether you're undergraduate or postgraduate student. You're able to access the wide range of activities and sessions that can support your well-being. The Healthy DMU Hub is a one-stop shop for students to find out more about managing their health and their well-being at university. So you can find support on mental well-being, physical well-being, and other handy top tips to support you in your adjustment to university life. Some of the support on offer includes volunteering opportunities with DMU Local, sessions within the Leisure Centre to develop your physical fitness, and other social events organised within the Students' Union. There's also a range of masterclasses as well that we run, and these are 1 hour long practical skills-based sessions which assist students to develop their full potential. So we have lots of different masterclasses, things like time management, working in groups, managing anxiety, things like that. They also offer valuable skills linked to resilience and developing confidence, which prepare students for successful employment and looking at how to be assertive, how to perform well under pressure at university, and more. We also offer mindfulness sessions as well, and these help with learning to focus on the here and now, and helping to improve concentration, and regular mindful practice can boost feelings of well-being, and helping to manage the distractions that we get in day-to-day life. So DMU has a team of qualified relaxation, meditation and mindfulness instructors, and they offer sessions throughout the year to students along with useful hints and tips along the way. So that's kind of the Healthy DMU Hub, and an overview on Healthy DMU. I'll give some information. Oh, sorry, did you have a question?
Sorry, no, I was just really interested. So how long has this been on offer for the students? Has it been something that's been put together over the last few years?
Yeah, it's been running for a couple of years. So yeah, we've got lots of, this is available to all students. So you're just able to book on My Gateway, which once you're enrolled, you'll become familiar with. But that's an online booking system. It offers, you can book lots of different appointments, but all of the masterclasses, things relating to Healthy DMU, or you can just go onto the Healthy DMU Hub of the website, and that provides details on the masterclasses and mindfulness sessions that are running as well. So it's really, really useful to access, and there's lots of different types of workshops that we run.
And is it all free?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's all free. So it's literally you just book online, and at the moment, obviously, things are running online. But in normal circumstances, as I keep saying, we do have the sessions face to face as well. So normally they run in the breathing space, and I think once you're on campus, you'll become kind of familiar with these different things that I'm mentioning. But yeah, so they're available for all students, sort of, from enrolment all the way to graduation.
That's fantastic. And you've got a whole team that's there to look after you.
Yes, so I'm part of the Disability Advice and Support team, and we've also got the Wellbeing team as well, which consists of mental health inclusion officers and wellbeing officers as well. So there's a range of support that we offer as a service. So if you did want to talk about any support that maybe you may be eligible for, or that you may need at university, it may be that you previously had support at school or college, then please do get in contact with us, because higher education in terms of the learning environment is slightly different, and also kind of how you access support. So I'll just talk a little bit about the Disabled Students Allowance. So the Disabled Students Allowance is a government fund which you may be able to apply for if you're eligible. If you have a mental health condition, a disability, a long-term medical condition, or specific learning differences such as dyslexia. So the DSA is not a loan or repayable, but it can provide an individually tailored support package to access during your studies. So some of the support offered may include computer equipment, assistive software packages, specialist mentoring support, or other one-to-one support. So it's really useful to apply for and have in place. We can also implement some faculty support as well, if that's appropriate. So things like individual exam arrangements, and setting up support requirements for your tutors to access. So things like providing lecture notes and handouts in advance electronically. So our teams are available, as I say, from application stage all the way to graduation, so to support you sort of, through your whole journey at DMU. We offer a range of different types of appointments. So, if you wanted more information or advice, on support that may be specific for you, we have got colleagues available on the online chat today, but if not, you can get in contact with us by email or phone, and our contact details are available on the website. And I'll hand back to Sean.
So thank you so much for that. That's brilliant. And that's Tirith from Disability Advice and Support. And if you have a look on the chat, we've dropped the link in for Healthy DMU, so you can have a look at the services that we offer. And like Tirith says, they're all free and they're all aimed at helping you have the very best university experience. And thank you so much for that, Tirith. That's really interesting. And another thing that we also offer is help towards finance. And we're going to talk now to Ryan, who's from the student finance team. So I'll just bring him in. Thank you, Tirith. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, Sean.
How are you?
Yeah, very well. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. And just wondered if you would be able to talk about the financial advice and support that's on offer at DMU, because Tirith's talked about how we're running masterclasses to help students get the very best out of their learning experience. But finance and welfare is top of mind for a lot of students, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think at this time of year for applicants, the main question really is around what kind of student funding they might be able to receive from the government. So I'm going to give a short overview of what's available from Student Finance England, but there is a lot more information on the UCAS website, on our website, and on gov.uk/student finance, which is the main hub for student funding information. So it's also important to point out that funding might vary depending on where you live. So, for example, in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, there are different agencies and so slightly different packages. But the main package from Student Finance England includes a tuition fee loan to help cover the cost of tuition fees, which is paid directly to the university on behalf of the student. And a maintenance loan, which is paid directly to the student's bank account in 3 instalments to help with the everyday living costs. So the tuition fee loan is non-means tested. However, the maintenance loan is. So the amount you're likely to receive will depend on your household income and whether you'll be living with your parents when you study. The range of funding in terms of your maintenance loan is, depending on your income, can be from approximately £4,000 to £9,500. So it's really important that you have a look on the Student Finance England website, where there's a calculator which will provide you with an estimate of how much you might receive. Don't forget, the tuition fee loan and maintenance loan are loans, and therefore you will be expected to repay them after you leave your course and are earning a certain amount of money. For more information on repayments, check out the gov.uk/student finance website. Student Finance England also have a range of what are called non-repayable grants for students with specific circumstances. So if you have the care of a child, if you have childcare costs, or if you have an adult who is dependent on you financially. So that's just a kind of a brief overview, but as I say, there's more information on gov.uk/student finance, and the UCAS website has a lot of information on there as well. Or if you have any questions about student funding or managing your finances at university, we're always here to help. The Student Finance and Welfare team are available at DMU all year round to help with understanding your student funding package and any issues that they might be having. We can also contact funding providers directly to resolve any issues. We provide advice and guidance on budgeting and money management to make sure that your funding lasts as long as possible. And we also have a range of scholarships and bursaries to help targeted students. We also operate a number of scholarships and bursaries, and do have a look on our website, dmu.ac.uk/funding for the full list. But I just wanted to highlight a couple. The Care Leavers Bursary, which is £1,000 per year, which is for undergraduate students who have been looked after by their local authority, and the Estranged Student Bursary of £1,000 per year for undergraduate students who are assessed by their funding provider as being independent of their parents due to estrangement. Finally, if you find that your student funding isn't stretching as far as you need, we do have the DMU Support Fund. So that can help you with extra financial support. It's again targeted at specific groups of students depending on need. So, for example, students with children, students with disabilities or medical conditions where they might not be able to work part-time, students who pay rent, and final year students. So before I hand back to Sean, I'd just like to finish on some key top tips when it comes to student funding. Firstly, make sure you apply for your funding as soon as possible to ensure you don't have any delays when you start your course. Applications normally open in spring, around February, March time, but you don't have to wait until you know which university you're going to before applying, so you can apply as early as possible. Secondly, try to save a little bit of money for your first week at university. The student funding isn't normally paid until at least the end of induction week or freshers week, maybe not even until the week after. So just make sure that you have got some funding saved. And finally, if you're going to be paying your accommodation costs from your student funding, it's a good idea to visit the gov.uk/student funding web pages, where there's a calculator so that you can get an estimate of how much money you might receive, and then you can choose your accommodation according to your income. Okay, so I think that's everything for now. So I'll hand back to Sean.
Thank you ever so much, Ryan. That was really, really good. We've got some questions coming in, and there's one that I just wanted to run past you. Guy Matt, hello Matt, nice to have you watching. He is saying that he's working full-time at the moment, but if he started university as a mature student, how do they calculate the household income if you're giving up your job to be a student?
Yeah, so from this kind of perspective, Student Finance England will look at the year. They pretty much assume that you as a student, you're not earning enough to get a full kind of whack. So they will look at what your income is in year, so to speak. And they know that it's going to be reduced when you go to university because, in effect, as a full-time student, you might not have the capacity to work. So they kind of do that all automatically. If they don't, there's another type of assessment that can be done. It's quite detailed, so probably won't go into it here. But if there's any questions or queries, they can always get in touch with us, and we can try and resolve things.
Brilliant. And what's the best email to get hold of you on?
Yeah, it's on sfw@dmu.ac.uk.
Right, guys, I'm just putting that one into the chat. So sfw@dmu.ac.uk.
Yeah.
And that is the place to reach Ryan and everybody who knows everything about finance. And thank you so much for joining us. Ryan's sticking around, and so's Tirith. So if you've got any questions, please keep popping them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of everybody's introductions and explanations. And I'm just going to bring in, thank you very much, Ryan, and we'll speak to you later. I'm just going to bring in Leonie now, who's going to talk a little bit about Healthy DMU and your experience, because we heard from Tirith and we've heard from Ryan about the help that's available. And I wondered if you'd be able to share your experience of Healthy DMU and how it's helped you.
Yeah, of course. So I know when I was at uni, there was sort of a Healthy DMU promotional event where in the SU they had the Healthy DMU team. They had some food to sort of draw people in because students are always up for free food. But I hadn't really been aware of Healthy DMU until my final year when I went to this event. So if you're watching this, you're already like 2 years ahead of me. So good going there. But basically, we found out sort of what the kinds of things Healthy DMU can do and the ways that we could take advantage of it. And I was quite excited to be able to take advantage of it because I hadn't in my first and second year. And I feel like I probably would have appreciated having it if I'd known about it earlier. So on the day, there was some little, what would you call them, stress toys. There was some like V-shaped ones and some just plain ball ones, and they were really good. Just as a sort of a simple thing to take away. And they also had lots of leaflets about the different events they had. So I know me and my housemates who were all third year students, we went to some of the masterclasses they had about pressure and how to deal with the pressure, which is quite an essential thing because when you're in your final year, you've got to balance with the living and cooking and cleaning and everything alongside your coursework. And also the sort of stress of starting to look for jobs and things.
Yep.
So it was definitely something that I'm glad we took advantage of, and was definitely worth going to. So I'd say any of the healthy DMU things that you see, they're definitely worth looking into, and the team is so helpful.
That's brilliant. So how do you think it helped you in getting that sort of balance between, you know, the studying but being able to control the stress and worrying about stuff?
Well, they gave us some tips that were sort of quite good, but not necessarily massively time consuming, because I know some people that would do sort of like an hour of yoga a day and things like that to calm their nerves, but I didn't quite have an hour in the morning each day. So they gave us some other tips that we could use and fit in around things. So like as we were studying, to sort of make sure we were keeping on top of our to-do lists and things like that, so that we're not putting too much stress on ourselves, but we're also keeping in line with things, and we're making sure we're still organised.
That's really good. And how long are the masterclasses?
It was a little while ago that I went. I think they were around an hour long, but I think it did vary depending on which one you went to. And if you didn't necessarily have the whole time, you could probably go along to them for, say you only had half an hour, then you could go along to that part and then sort of leave early. I'm sure they wouldn't mind too much. But equally, if you wanted to talk to them sort of outside of those group sessions, I'm sure they'd be willing to sort of do something and see if there is a more one-to-one type session that they could do with you, because they did seem very accommodating.
Brilliant. And Tirath has just actually messaged, so the mindfulness classes are an hour and mindfulness sessions are 30 minutes. So
yeah, there we go. If you've only got half an hour, you can go to a mindfulness session then.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Leonie.
That's okay.
And bring in David, who's got the world's best library backdrop, because he is the library king. Hang on. Hello.
Hello, Sean. Thank you for that.
And can you just, because you are Director of Library and Learning Services, so I mean, the library is a hub for students, absolutely, isn't it? But I just wondered whether you could talk to us about the, as well as borrowing books and having an amazing selection, the library also does offer incredible support to the students, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. We offer a whole wraparound of support. So as well as access to, you know, 5 kilometers of shelving and 350,000 books and a million ebooks and all of the different kinds of resources you'll get access to, you also have access to an incredible set of staff that can support you in your studies. So we offer workshops, for example, in everything from maths to academic writing, if you want to improve your academic writing or your skills in crafting essays or writing a dissertation or any kind of assignment work. There are librarians that can help you. There are lecturers who can help you as part of the library, and a whole set of staff that can support you right through your study, right from the word go, from your first assignment right through to graduation and beyond. An incredible array of support week in, week out. So we have things like, there's a live chat, for example. You can just go to the library website now. If you just type in library DMU, for example, you'll land on the website and you'll see that there's live chat. So you can chat straight away to someone who can help you either locate items, guide you to where you can find information about resources and finding more help in terms of whatever subject it is that you're doing. Dedicated subject librarians, different kinds of study spaces as well. So you'll find that there's spaces where you can study alone, spaces where you can study with groups or in a bigger area. There's a maker space even in the library where you can actually craft and draw and create things as well. We also provide well-being sessions as well and support students in that. There's whole lots of reading groups and writing groups. So for example, you can sit and work with people on your writing together with peers, with other students or with staff from the library. So we have a Just Ask service as well. So that's just ask dmu.ac.uk, that you can drop them an email, and they'll also help you with anything that you need. There's Wi-Fi right across the campus, so you can get access to the library wherever you are. As I said, we've got something like 1 million ebooks available online, as well as videos, film, music even. So just absolutely anything you might need for your resource. You can borrow laptops, for example, and use laptops anywhere on campus. Also, our IT services provide an AV loan service, so you can borrow things like cameras, sound recordings, even a PA system if you really wanted to. So it's an incredible sort of access to this kind of very special club, if you want to use that term. And it's right across the university as well. So dedicated subject librarians who know your subject, who know the resources, know how the assignments and assessment works, know how what you need to do to be a successful student. They can really help you through that. So we also provide support for assistive technology. So if you've got a disability and you want to use different kinds of technology to help you, we have specialists who can help you do that and provide you with that software as well. We have digital literacy members of staff as well, so it can help you with any kind of aspect of computing, whether it's writing in using Word, using Excel, using any kind of specialist technology as well. So people who can help you navigate your way through the whole of academic life.
That's brilliant. And you've also got people that can demystify Harvard referencing.
That's the big one. Yeah. Referencing is one of the mysteries. Yeah. One of the mysteries of university life, referencing, and people are quite unnerved by it sometimes because it's an academic craft, and but we'll show you how to use that. We have lots of tools that can help you manage that, and people who can walk you through and talk you through the whole setup, how to do that. So
how many people do you have in your team?
120 altogether, right across the university. Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
Because we've got it's such a big building. We have other study centres as well around the university. So we've got 3 other study centres that you can also use, and we're open long hours. So you're always going to find that help. We also have online help 24/7 as well, so you can make contact with staff right through that period as well and get help even at 3 a.m. if you needed it.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah. So you can just contact. We use a system that allows you to, it follows the sun essentially. So you might be talking to an Australian, for example, or someone in Canada, but they're part of our service and part of our offer, and they will help you right around the clock.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's great. That's just coming online right now. So
that's fantastic. So there's a real community of support out there.
Absolutely, yeah. It's and it is a community. The library is a community because we really want students to engage with the library and get to know it, get to know the staff, and be part of that community. Because our ideas about service, how we improve it, are fed by students using it and by telling us what they want to see and what they want to do in the space. It's student space.
That's brilliant. And I'm going to bring in Rick now, who's a student, and he is a writer, and he's doing a master's in creative writing. And I just wondered if you could tell us, from a student perspective, how you've benefited from the library services.
I think the one year that stood out for me was my 3rd and final year of my degree, where we had to do a response group and using the study pods within what you book out within them, and just being in that environment. But you've got the studies pods where you can shut yourself off from the rest of the library and really immerse yourself within your project and stuff. Because I wasn't a big fan of the whole working in the library. I would always go to the VJ Patel building, but last year in my 3rd year, that all changed. That once a week I would go with the rest of our group and we'd immerse ourselves within our projects, and just having that closed off area was even if it was for half an hour or an hour, you'd take so much away. So that was a real big plus for the library. Yeah. As well as all of the books, like say if like you needed to look at the reading list and there wasn't one, or it was out, or they would advise you with something similar or even better, like book-wise. Yeah.
And it's all online, isn't it? There's so many titles that you
yeah.
can just read online.
Yes, yeah. And it's like even stuff to do with historical information, because like say if creative writing students writing historical fiction, they can like therefore direct you into that time, and they can even, I mean, last week in one of my lessons we got told like they have books on what they were speaking or what area of fashion they were into, and it's just mind-boggling when you think how much information's out there. Yeah.
We also have a museum as well, a heritage centre, so you can actually get your hands on artifacts and special collections as well. So books that date back to 1460s and that kind of thing. So you can really get to experience that as well.
Kind of immerse yourself within that area of, or that part of life, can't you? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a very special year for DMU because we are 150 years old this year. And David alluded to the Special Collections Unit, and you've also got the archive team, haven't you?
Yeah, great archives team that just really helped to explain not only the history of the institution, but the history of Leicester. So I've got lots of collections that reflect the history of the area, and it's great. And they're always showcasing these collections, and you can get there and get your hands on these things, everything from Civil War weapons to like as I said, ancient books from 500 plus years ago, and fashion collections, sport collections. It's incredible sort of array of stuff that you get access to as well.
It is fantastic, and it's really worth a visit. And you can actually book now, can't you, to go and make an appointment to go and visit?
Absolutely, yeah.
Socially distanced, obviously, but you can go and see the collections. You'd love it, Rick.
Yeah. It's almost like a vault of information, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, guys. Let me see if I can do this now. I'm just going to ask whether or not I'm going to bring in Leonie, if I can. Hello. Sorry, I'm just apologise to viewers because I'm the best at technology and I'm trying to like move people in and out of the chat. And I'm just going to ask you guys, just from the student experience perspective, the support that you guys have found at DMU and how cast your minds back, because obviously it's going to be 4 years ago, but how easy it was to transition to university life, because it is very different from doing your A-levels, isn't it?
Definitely it is. It's quite scary going into something that feels so sort of individual. And I thought when I was going to uni, I had this sort of thing in my mind where I thought I was going to be alone and that I wasn't going to get too much support. So I was quite nicely surprised when I did get there that there were so many different areas of support that the university had to offer, from my lecturers to I didn't think I could ask them as many questions as I did. And they probably got bored of hearing questions from me. But honestly, something that is very helpful with the transition is talking to your lecturers, because if they know where you're coming from and know that you're struggling with a certain aspect, they can make sure that the lecturers are putting more focus on those areas so that you're not struggling as much, and you're probably not the only one that's struggling on those areas. But I think the thing that probably helped me the most was the library and some of the services they had, because I'm not the most academic of people, and I did struggle with my academic writing quite a lot. So I saw that the library put on academic writing classes and things about how to reference. And those classes, some of the tips I learned from that are things that I've taken all the way through into my final year when I was writing my dissertation. So those were really, really helpful, because it was a class of maybe about 20 people. And and they gave us the sort of basic tips of referencing and the sorts of things you need to be doing and the things you need to be considering throughout, from your research process all the way to when you are actually including the references in your written work. And the sort of tips and sheets that they gave us, I know the library's got a How to Harvard reference sheet on their website, which is extremely helpful, because when you're referencing different sources like videos and podcasts, journals, books, websites, all these different things, it does get a little bit confusing of how they need to be written. But those cheat sheets were things that I've used all the way through my time at uni. So that's definitely something that helped a lot with the transition for me.
And you mentioned before that you studied media production.
Yes, I did.
And I was just going to go back to something that David mentioned, which was about AV loans and the equipment that you can borrow. And I'm guessing that, you know, as a media production student, that was pretty useful.
Oh, definitely. AV loans, I spent so much time in there. So similarly to the library, they've got their own website, which is so helpful because you can see everything that you've got access to, because they've got a whole range of things. They've got sort of 5 racks filled with different types of equipment that are appropriate for different students and different subjects. So depending on which year you're in and which subject you're in, you have access to different things, and you can see all of that through your AV Loans account, which you get automatically when you go to the uni. So you can log into that and then see all of the things you have access to. It's nicely categorized so you don't get lost. And then through there, you can then book it and then go into AV Loans and take it out. And I find they were so helpful because some of the equipment was equipment I'd never seen before, let alone used. And if it wasn't something that my lecturer had told me about, then I was able to ask the people that worked at AV Loans how it worked and for some advice of the types of lenses to get for the cameras and the best lights that were sort of suitable for the different things I was filming or which microphones to use. So AV Loans is definitely something that's worth using, and don't take them as just somewhere to borrow things. They are also there to help because they do know the equipment very, very well.
That's right. They're full of top tips, aren't they?
Yeah. It's also just quickly worth noting that also there isn't a charge for the equipment you use unless you bring it back late, when you get a late fee. So just be careful that you bring it back on time, and it is all nice and student finance friendly.
Good to know. Good to know. And thank you very much for that. And I'm just going to bring in Rick. Hi, Rick. And I was just going to ask you to share any experiences that you've had regarding student support as well.
I would say, like, quite recently when I was in my second or third year, getting my note taker was really beneficial. And that's just an area where, like, I'd go to my workshop and I feel like it just putting a nutshell on it all, it's like how the university is inclusive for, like, a person like myself, like with learning differences, like with dyslexia, and it just, that's just like having a note taker and study support available to you, and you should just grasp it with both hands and just see it as a part of your course as well. Yeah.
So how does that work? Do you have to ask for somebody to come with, or
you have to apply for it?
Right.
Yeah. And then like go through, like, I also have like software put onto my my laptop, like mind maps, and I think I can't remember the I think it was mind mapping or something like that. My mind's gone blank. Yeah.
But it's just there to help, really, isn't it? And
it's there to enhance the student experience. Yeah.
That's great. Now I'm going to bring in everybody else because we're getting a lot of questions coming through. So let me just bring back Ryan. Hello, David and Tirith. And we have got an absolute ton of questions that are coming through. So thank you to everybody who's watching, and thank you so much for all your questions. I'm going to ask, right, we have a question saying, what if you don't have a diagnosed condition, but you generally think that you're going to struggle with academia? So I'm guessing you maybe haven't studied for a while, or you just are a bit worried about you don't think you're academic at all. How does DMU help you in that situation? David, I'm going to start with you.
We transition into university life, into academic life is quite a journey, and it's something that you adapt and adopt as the time goes on. We have the team are dedicated really to help you make that transition into learning. So we can help in terms of how you construct an essay, for example, how to present your arguments, how to write coherently and cogently and concisely as well. So there's a whole way that we support that, both from workshops, we have one-to-ones, live chat, we have drop-in sessions every week, so you can just drop into a workshop or and see stuff that can help you construct that way of writing, that way of learning. So in lots of different ways as well. So it's not just about that sort of writing, but it's also about how to think creatively, how to manage your time, how to sort of approach it holistically as well, looking at the whole problem that you might be having to grapple with or wrestle with. There are people that can help you work through that, and as well as a peer group of students that have maybe gone through that process as well. So we can put you in touch with people to help you as well that way.
That's brilliant. It goes back to that community idea, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Tirath, is one for you. Basically, we have a comment saying, what happens if you struggle with writing speed, and do you have anything to help anybody with Asperger's syndrome?
Yeah, so we've got, there's lots and lots of support available. So I'll kind of start from the beginning. So what we usually suggest is that at application stage, if you do disclose on your UCAS application, that's really helpful for our team. So it doesn't have any impact on your kind of academic offer to university. But what that enables us to do is, within our team, we've got some transition and retention officers. They will be able to contact you as an applicant. So we usually start doing that around about January or February. It is when you have a firm choice with us, but we would be able to contact you, prior to starting, to talk, specifically about your individual circumstances. It's the student support meeting is an opportunity for you to ask us questions, but also give us information on, support you may previously have had at school or college, or not, or support that you think would be useful. And as I said before, university, can be quite a different learning environment to college and school. So it's to make sure that you've got the right support in place. And the reason we contact applicants is so that we can advise you on the support and try and get everything set up for when you start, so there isn't kind of a gap where you don't have support. And it's to try and make the transition to university as smooth as possible for you. So we would talk, so my colleagues who do the student support meeting would talk to you about the disabled students allowance if you're eligible, and that may provide lots of different types of support, so things like assistive software packages, one-to-one mentoring support, or one-to-one study skills. So they can give you information on that. We can also talk about university support, individual exam arrangements, anything that your tutors need to be aware of or do, so things like providing lecture notes or handouts in advance electronically. But we do have, for the last kind of, I think, about 5 years, we have had a residential event for students with autism spectrum conditions. So this runs prior to starting university. It's normally around about September, and it's really to give you a taster of what university is like. So to try and give you that real university experience, but just before the academic year actually starts. So we do things like, it is fun, but it's also practical. So things like going out for a meal, cooking, going to laser tag, but like I say, also practical things like attending a lecture, to give an idea sort of, what that will be like. And obviously this year, because we've not been able to host it in person. It's all been online, which has got really good feedback as well. And just to say, the residential event that we do have, you have the opportunity to stay on campus in halls as well if you wanted to. So yeah, so there's lots of support. So what I would say is get in contact, with our team, disclose on UCAS, but yeah, reach out to us as well if you do have any other specific questions, and we've got colleagues available on the live chat today. So there's lots of different types of support that we can talk about in those student support meetings. And just to touch upon kind of things like, not just from the academic side, but also things like accommodation. We have a quiet block in Newark Point. So if you've got, specific requirements where you want somewhere a little bit quieter, you can have that. And I'm nearly done, sorry, it's a really long answer, but only because you've mentioned, the questions mentioned autism and Asperger's. We do have, colleagues run a lunch club 3 times a week. It's online at the moment. But that's to kind of, again, it's to kind of build that community sometimes, when we start new things, so particularly kind of, starting university, if you don't know people, it's a good way to meet other students. Lunch club, and also the autism team do a drop-in as well, which currently is online. Now, hand back to Sean.
That sounds brilliant. That sounds so good. That is a massively comprehensive answer, and I hope that helps the viewers who put the questions in. And if there is any questions that people have, is there an email that they can get hold of you on?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind popping it in the chat, that would be great. It's disability@dmu.ac.uk.
Disability@dmu.ac.uk. There we go. That's gone in the chat. And thank you very much, Tirith. And I'm just going to add Ryan in, because we've got a question now which has come in, which is right up your street. And this one is, it's another chap called Ryan. He's asking whether there's additional financial support available to care leavers. And I think there is, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. So I've already mentioned the Care Leavers bursary of £1,000, but there is actually a package of support for care leavers. It just so happens that I work in the specific team that supports care leavers. So there are 3 of us in the team, and as part of our remit, we look to make contact with students who have spent time in local authority care and try to see how we can support. So similar to Tirith, we contact applicants from about May time to say thank you for applying to us. We noticed that you mentioned this on your UCAS form. How can we help to support? So the first thing I would say is make sure that on the UCAS form, there is a question of have you spent time in local authority care and how long? So make sure you answer those questions, just so that we can then reach out to you before you start. So there's the £1,000 bursary. We also we have a partnership with an organisation, a charity called the Unite Foundation, who offer an accommodation scholarship. So Unite Foundation are part of Unite Students. Unite Students are an accommodation provider, and they run a scholarship scheme where you can get free accommodation for 3 years. It is a competitive process, so you do need to apply for it, and applications usually open in January. And as I say, there's 3 designated contacts for care leavers. So if you have any questions about starting at university, the finances around that, or accommodation, then you can get in touch with us and we can try and see how we can help. Accommodation over the summer is usually a question that comes up with people who might have spent time in care, and we can work through how contracts can work with accommodation providers and what support is available to help. So yeah, the key thing really is to make sure that you complete the UCAS question so that we know about you and we can reach out and make contact. Okay.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. And other Ryan, I hope that answers your question. And if you need to know more, we've dropped the SFW email address in the chat, so please do get in touch. And thank you very much, Ryan, our Ryan. I'm just going to bring in Rick and Leonie now. Hello again, guys.
Hello again.
Just coming to the end of our live stream, but I just wondered if I could ask you both for your top tips on student support at DMU. What would you advise students to do maybe before they even arrive at university, and where should they be heading once they're on campus?
I think if you can identify if there's an area that you're specifically worried about that you think you're going to be struggling in, if it's your course, I'd say try to immerse yourself in areas around the course subject, not necessarily in just an academic way, but if there's maybe some documentaries or podcasts you can watch or listen to, then those really helped me before I started and sort of calmed the nerves of thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not prepared for my course at all. But if there's a specific area that you're thinking like, oh, I need some mental health support or to do with a specific learning disability, then try and identify that and see if you can get in contact with the team. Because as we've been saying, there isn't any issue with you getting in contact before you arrive on campus. And if anything, it will probably help with this sort of gap between where you are now and to starting your degree.
And it's also like good to speak to your lecturers and like say if you've got an educational report like I had before I started my degree, to let them know and send it to them and get in contact with the team like in the Gateway House and your faculty, and just it saves doing it later on down the road.
Definitely.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you both so much. And I'm just going to bring everybody back in now to say thank you very much. We're going to have to finish the live stream there, but thanks ever so much to everybody for listening and for your questions. And there's lots more live streams going on. And oh, hang on, we have one more question come in for Tirith. What kind of support would a person get if they think they have dyspraxia and dyslexia, but they're not diagnosed?
Okay, thanks, Sean. So what I would suggest is getting in contact with our team, and we can talk to you about support that you may previously have had, because sometimes you might get support at school or college, but if you've not got a formal report, that's something we can have a chat with you about. We may be able to look at whether we're able to offer an assessment for specific learning differences, and if so, we can have more of a chat with you. We do have a specific learning differences disability officer, so she can work with you to provide more information on your individual circumstances. So what I'd say is, we may be able to look into an assessment, but please do get in contact with us.
That's brilliant. And we've got a question from Tyler for Ryan. Is there additional support for students who do not have parental guidance? I live on my own and have to give up everything from my new flat to the benefits needed for rent so I can come to uni. I'm guessing your team would be the place to go for that.
Yeah, definitely. Again, this kind of grouping of students or a particular group that I work with specifically. So as Sean said, really contact us on the email address on the comments. We do need to know a little bit more about you personally and your circumstances in order to advise. But just so that you know, we do have bursaries for students who are independent if they meet a particular category. And we also have something called the DMU Support Fund to help students with other costs that might not be covered from Student Finance England's point of view, but it's a very one-to-one process. So what the support we offer is quite specific to you. So it is important we find out a little bit more about you before looking into things.
That's brilliant. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I just wanted to ask those because I could just see the questions shoot in after I said, well, we're just wrapping up now. But yes, thank you very much to everybody for all your questions. And thank you to our students and staff for their time today. And I hope that this has been useful and helpful. And like I say, if you've got any questions, please do get in touch. And thanks very much to our team. Thank you to Leonie, to Rick, to David, to Tirath, and to Ryan. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.